Ah, look at that. I am gonna hello. I am going to be doing look, I got gates set up, right? I got them they're out here as well. And we're gonna be doing some flying. See, I feel like a real streamer now with me down in the corner. Huh? How about that? Um but the and I've got what have I got? I've got this is what is this? Who can recognize this guy here? Anybody recognize this? No? Okay. It's the Eachine Trashcan, which when I first reviewed the Mobula, the trash can hadn't come out yet. And everybody was like, what about the trash can? It's the best thing ever. That's right. You got it, Decode. You got it, Stream Delay. I know. What can you do? Everybody was like, well, but the trash can, Mobula is dead. And I actually recorded a little bit of a rant. I may release it. A little bit of a rant where I was like, you guys, all you're doing is reading a product page and you've decided that the trash can is the best thing ever. You don't know. You gotta, so many products have looked good on paper and then have fallen down in the execution. But I've been flying this for, well, a day now. I only just got it. And I will say, it's pretty good. The hype may be real. UR65 for life. Decode, I have actually, I have a UR65 on order, but I haven't tried it. Yeah. Jabordi, One Pack Dave. How should I shorten your name? Can I just say Dave? Because that's a lot of a mouthful. Dave points out that it comes with an EOS camera. Yeah, the camera on the gosh darn Mobula is one of the weakest parts. The motors on the trash can are 1 millimeter taller. They're like 0803 instead of 0802. Although I don't think anybody flew the Mobula and said, wow, this is underpowered. Yeah, got slightly bigger motors, much better camera. The bind button is in a much nicer place. So what I thought I'd like to do is let's fly. And what I want to do is I want to fly this guy. This is the trash can. We'll put some laps in. We'll have some fun and we'll fly the Mobula. And I've got a few others here. I've got like the Beta 65, the Beta 75X. I've actually got a huge backlog of micros that I'm supposed to be reviewing, but that I haven't because I'm very busy. Tinyhawk, still my favorite indoor. Can I tell you something, Max Beamer? The Tinyhawk has not been my favorite. However, I put the Project Mockingbird. I put the Mockingbird tune on the Tinyhawk, and holy crap, it's so much better. And I'll say this, I'm going to put this in my review of the Tinyhawk, where I do the Tinyhawk. I'm going to do a video about putting Mockingbird on the Tinyhawk and talk about it. But here's what I say, and I'll say it here on the live stream as well. I owe the Project Mockingbird guys an apology because when I got like the Mobula and the Beta 75, all these higher powered brushless micros, people asked, well, should we try Project Mockingbird on them? And I basically said, I kind of don't see the point, because the point of Project Mockingbird, I mistakenly said, was to fix what's wrong with a brushed whoop. I thought of Project Mockingbird as being specifically about brushed whoops. And that was completely wrong. The point of Project Mockingbird is just to make tiny whoops, micro-sized stuff fly really well. And that's still true. You take like a Tinyhawk, you could still make it fly way better. And they did. So the Mockingbird guys have tunes out there for UR65, for Tinyhawk, all these things. And I said, I don't see the point of, well, no, taking the exact things they did for an Acrobee and putting it on a Tinyhawk. No, that's pointless, but that's not what they're doing. And I basically misunderstood the whole point of Project Mockingbird. I just had a really limited scope of it. I put the Project Mockingbird tune on the Tinyhawk and wow, it's so much better. It's amazing. So, yeah. The Beta 75X Botnik asks, what's my opinion of the Beta 75X? Is the 75X the one that I already reviewed, or is that the 75S? I can't remember. Hang on, I have to look it up.
There's a power whoop group in Facebook that's got all those and other tunes that gets rid of the yaw thingy, whatever they call that.
Yep.
The washout, I guess.
The washout. Yeah, I think and I think the single biggest thing that the Tinyhawk Project Mockingbird tune did was increase the level strength much higher, because the level strength is like, it's like P gain for your auto level, and it just makes the sharpness. It also turned up feed forward, but I'm not sure that actually applies in auto level mode. Do you know the answer to that, Steve? Does feed forward apply when you're in angle mode?
I believe it does, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Yeah. So they increased the level strength, and it just made it fly so much better. They did other things too, but that to me was, I think, the big one. Botnik asks about the Beta 75X. Botnik, if you check my channel, I reviewed the Beta 75X and several others not too long ago. Hold on a second here. Let me act like a pro streamer and just boom, right there on the stream. Beta 75X. Find this video on my channel, and this is the one you want. And of course, if you look at this video, you'll see, what about the trash can? What about the trash can? What about the, it wasn't out yet. Shut up. Okay. All right. I was a little bit annoyed about that. Sorry. I apologize. So the short version about the 75X is that, in my opinion, even with a throttle cut of like 50%, it's just too powerful for indoors, for precision stuff. Yes, somewhere out there are really excellent pilots who are ripping the 75X indoors. I don't feel like I recommend the 75X as an indoor quad. However, the place I see the 75X fitting is if you want like a 3-inch or a 2.5-inch, like the Baby Hawk, but you don't want the open props because they're a little too scary. The 75X doesn't look intimidating, and it doesn't feel intimidating. And if, God forbid, you smack it into somebody's head, it probably isn't going to hurt as bad as like a Baby Hawk. So the Beta 75X almost feels to me like a 2.5 or 3-inch quad in the way it flies. Not quite, but almost. And I don't think of it as like an indoor quote unquote whoop. So deep fried LEDs. I'm blaming Stingy for not changing the title. I don't actually have the credentials to the stream. I have the stream key, which lets me stream to the channel, but I can't actually change. And Stingy was like, "Oh, let me change that for you," but he is in Vegas somewhere, and he can't do it from his phone. And he's in Vegas for the Nationals, and yeah. So let's take a couple questions. I see some questions coming in. What did you, Shrung TV, were you working with the Mach 2? Or which VTX were you working with? Chris Quad, I should be in Vegas? Well, if I was in Vegas, then who would be here with you? Come on now. Okay. I'm blaming Stingy, that's right. All right, so here's what I want to do first, and I actually know the outcome of this because I already did this, but I want to show you guys. Hold on, I gotta get oh, here it is. I got one. I'm gonna get a rubber band because one of the things about the trash can is that the way it's kind of hard to show, but I can't figure out how to get the batteries to stay in this little holder without some 3D printed part. So I'm basically just taking the batteries and I'm wrapping them around a rubber band. I'm wrapping a rubber band around the battery. Oh. Yeah, you say the Speedix Rex whoop looks pretty sweet. There are so many of these guys coming out so fast. It's insane. I can't even keep up. So I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to... there's the little 1S adapter. I'm going to need that. Ah! Found it. Okay, great. Okay, great. I found the 1S adapter. Feed forward is reduced to 0 if flight modes are configured. Code K. So feed forward is not used in angle mode, is what you're telling me. That was my guess.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Does lowering TPA help you with prop wash? I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
No, I don't think TPA has anything to do with prop wash, honestly, because that's just at high throttle.
Yeah. Kind of, let's see where you're coming from. Okay, so what we got here is, this is... Thank you. Now, I want to warn you guys, I will not be seeing your questions and comments while I am boom, there we go. Come on now. Come on. Work. Oh yeah. I will not be seeing your questions and comments while I'm under the goggles, obviously. Let me ask you, if for anybody out there who owns the trash can, am I crazy or is this a 16:9 camera? Is this a widescreen camera? Look at my door. Does that not look widescreen to you? Anybody? I think it's widescreen. I just noticed that. Now the Mobula runs props out by default, I'm pretty sure. I don't think so. Here, hang on. Here, let's try this.
Is that camera configurable?
Now, does that, tell me something. Does that not look, does that look 4:3 to you? Look at my, hi there. Which of my faces looks squished? I think this is a widescreen camera being squished to 4:3. That's, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah, that looks off.
If anybody wants to research that for me, go right ahead. So I am not going to be running a stopwatch. I have a problem here. Hang on. Can I do this? Oh yeah, that's not bad. That'll do. Okay. I'm not going to be running a stopwatch or anything, but this is 1S Eachine Trashcan. Let's see how it goes. I think I'll do better with this like in my lap. Well, I don't know. Auto level. Here we go. The old standard Joshua Bardwell downstairs. I can't talk and fly at the same time. Get out of there. My goggles aren't on my face right, so I'm... Hang on, I have to readjust my goggles. My goggles aren't on my face right. I can't fly. Hang on. Is this going to work? Would this work? That's better. I really need... Here, what about this? There you go. That's something. Steve, you still there?
Yep.
Okay, I can hear you. Let's see now. Let's see. Turtle mode does exist. So that's good. Okay. Yeah, my goggles were slightly off. So this is 1S with the little 1S adapter. Let's see how it flies. Yeah. Okay, now I'm starting to get it again. Not bad. Notice the battery is already down to 3.2 though. So, no, don't fall down there. 3.2. So the battery is already sagging down. We've barely flown at all. And you can see my throttle down in the lower left. You can see I'm at... Come on. Oh, I missed that gate. I'm not going to... Okay, 3.1. And then that's where pretty much I'm going to bring it in and set it down. So this is something I noticed when I did some testing earlier about the difference between... People asked, what about the difference between a 1S and a 2S but with a throttle cut? And I'll do the 2S in a second, but I found that the 2S with the throttle cut worked. The quad just flew way better, way better. At 50% throttle cut, it had more power than on 1S. At least it felt that way. And it just... the difference I think is that you cut the throttle... And that lets you manage the throttle, but the PID controller still has full authority, and that makes a big difference in how it handles. So, yeah, this is the trash can, Jugsy. That was the trash can on 1S. Yeah. So let me now get another pack here. Hold on. And let's do it on 2S with a throttle cut. It's get that back on the charger. We're going to need to be rolling these batteries, so let's get that back on the charger. I need an assistant. I need an assistant to be charging my packs for me, you know? Where did that pack go that I had in my hand? There it is. Put that on the charger. Okay. All right. What do we got in terms of questions and comments? Let me just catch up here. Prop wash, yeah. What kids are for? Yeah, that's right. I need a producer. That's what they call them in the radio biz, the media biz. I need a producer. Oh yeah, you like that? I got
talked to Random lately.
I have not. He would have to be here. This is I see the chat is noticing my chair. Yeah, I have I updated my chair, my squeaky chair. It finally just broke. Like literally one of the welds on my chair broke. I'm not joking. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm getting a new chair. And I thought, well, I spend a lot of time sitting in this chair, so this is it's not like this is like a gaming chair at the Amazon level. So it's not like, you know, the real big time. The secret is that I just want to be a big time streamer. It's GT Racing off of Amazon. And all the cool streamers have. Does PM to Project Mockingbird? You know, it's just Google Docs and forum posts. I don't think they have a website. It does make it hard to find their info sometimes. I would love to have them like have all the info in one place. For all I know, maybe they do, and I just don't know about it. But I do struggle a little bit sometimes to find their tunes. One thing about the Project Mockingbird and the Mobula is that they have adjustable up tilt, and at the max it's like 30 degrees. That sounds like a good thing, but it does mean that sometimes when you crash, you end up changing the up tilt in the crash, and then you're flying way different than you expected. So that's not the best. Chris Quad, soldering would be a little bit beyond this. If I still had welding gear, I could have welded it, but no. It is it's a pretty nice chair. I do like it. It's pretty comfortable. So let's see here. Boom. Okay, so now we're on 2S, but I have, if you check out the throttle down in the lower left, I'm going to flip this switch and it's going to set the throttle to 50%. So we're going to be doing 2S on 50%. And again, my gut feeling, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. My gut feeling is that even on 50%, we've got more power than like on 1S. But it's manageable. Oh, there you go. Look at that. See?
Have you ever used those little TPU micro camera mounts that you loop over they just do a U around the standoffs and then you screw the micro cam in there?
Sure, yeah, I've used those. Hold on one second, Steve. Okay, go ahead, Steve. Yeah, I've used those.
So I guess my question is, have you ever noticed like the image kind of bobbling a little bit?
Well, it depends on the design of the mount. It really does. Some of them are worse than others, but
yeah,
no.
The frequency seems to be way too low to be tune related, in my opinion. I mean, it seems to be flying great. I guess I'll have to just throw a GoPro and start recording and
see. Yeah, I gotta tell you guys, instantly this just feels better, more controllable, just more precise. Just go where you point it. I don't feel like I'm struggling at all, except for this gate where I always hit the door jamb a little bit. So hopefully it'll show in my laps. But I feel like I just feel way more confident. See, look at that. Oh, see? Couldn't do that on 1S. I would struggle a lot more on 1S. Whereas here, I feel like, I mean, I'm not setting any lap records, but I am basically just flying it. It just doesn't feel like I'm having to try at all, except for this one. That one, oh, I'm going to get it, though. I'm starting to get that one. And look how much, this is the big one. On 2S, look how much longer the battery lasts. It's insane how much longer the battery lasts. Ah, that was not through. I am an honest racer. I will always go back and get my gates. I will never cheat. Oh, yeah. See, we're only down to 7.0 volts. You know, I don't feel like... I wasn't watching the clock, but... Seriously? Damn you. I don't feel... I mean, I'm not watching the clock, but I don't feel like I got like 2 minutes off that last one before it was down to like 3.1 or whatever. Alright, that one's down. Maybe we could get a little bit of speed for once without that one slowing me down all the time. Ooh, that's kind of like that better. No, go through it. That can't. Okay. Okay, so to answer the question, 2S with a throttle cut versus 1S. 2S with a throttle cut all freaking day. Much better. Much better. Yeah, that was the trash can on 2S with a throttle cut. Much better. So, for real. Those LED gates, Corsair, you may have seen my review of the LED gates recently on my channel. Those are from TBS. They do. I got them running off of 4S LiPos right now, broke mechanic, and they do. They just run for freaking ever. The product specs for those LED gates don't say that they say up to like 3S, but TBS, I asked, and they were like, no, you can run them on 4S, and I've been running them on 4S forever and without a problem. So no problem there. Let me get this quad. I'm going to hop up and get the quad, and I'm going to hop up and reset that gate, and then we will try. What I want to try next is the Mobula, because I haven't back-to-back the Mobula and the trash can yet. And I'll be curious, especially indoors with the throttle cut, whether I can feel a difference in those slightly smaller motors. Goldenair, I have not tried the Alien Whoop yet, so I can't comment on that. That's bad. Well, have I tried an Acro? Have I tried this guy? I haven't tried the trash can in Acro yet. It's been raining, so I haven't been outside. I really hope that this is a FET. It was on my floor. I really hope that it didn't come off the trash can. I mean, the trash can was still flying, so presumably it had all its FETs. But then where did the FET come from? It's time to... I see. Hang on. I'm going to eyeball this real quick with my microscopic vision. See if I can see anything that has come off. Wow. Where did this little tiny FET come from? That is... No kidding. This... Wow. It really has to have been the trash can, doesn't it? Because what else? It's the only thing I've been flying around. I don't see anything missing. I kind of want to open this up, but I think that might be... Oh, I might be a little boring on the stream. I don't see any missing ICs. So we're going to give this the benefit of the doubt and say that that FET came off of something else. So, yeah. I have microscopic vision because I'm going nearsighted or farsighted, and that's one of the things that happens. So yeah, I have carpet. Oh, how do I don't know. I mean, it's like I was like, oh, what is that? Is that a FET? Yeah. No, my carpet is not making anything disappear, I assure you. So let's get the Mobula and compare. Hold on. Somewhere out there's a quad with a broken motor. Where is the Mobula? There it is. Okay. Good boy. And we'll get some packs. I mean, definitely something in my house is missing a FET. There's no question. So it's just a question of what is missing a FET. Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just smashing the trash can around the room, which is why I strongly suspect the trash can. Like, it was right there in the middle of the floor, so I think... No, there's no way it was a chameleon. It's far too small to have been a chameleon. That's the thing. I was just smashing the trash can around, which is why my gut feeling is that it's probably the trash can. But I don't want to blame the trash can on stream for something without proof. Because if I'm like, oh, this thing, the battery, the FET fell off, then it turns out not to be that, then, you know, that wouldn't be fair. Wouldn't be right. Okay. Do the rubber band dance with the batteries here to get them to stay. Oh my gosh. Now this is the Mobula 7, the V2 frame. The V1 frame breaks way too easily. The V2 frame is vastly superior in that regard. So if you have a Mobula and you haven't gotten the V2 frame, just do it immediately. You're going to need it, but the V2 is much more durable than the V1. And if you're ordering the Mobula, if you're ordering the Mobula and people have asked, how do I know which one I'm getting, the V1 or the V2? I don't know how, I mean, I would guess they're all the V2 by now. Yeah, maybe Eachine threw in a spare FET at the factory. That would be, yeah, nice, in case you need one. The batteries for the trash can have been the 300 milliamp hour batteries that came with it. It comes with these little Eachine branded 300 milliamp hour HVs. The batteries on the Mobula are 255 milliamp hour Tinyhawk high volts. So not the exact same batteries, but I only have 4 of those. I only have 4 of those Eachine packs, so I can't really. Yeah, no, exactly. Decode FPV. If you have the V1 frame and you haven't broken it yet, you have unlocked some kind of a strange achievement because they break really quickly. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. And we are on 2S here, and we're going to have the 50% throttle cut. There we go. We're not on the right channel. Hold on. Oh yeah, that rapid fire goodness. You got to experience it firsthand. That RSSI in the goggles. Lovely. Okay. And I'll get the headphones back on so Steve or someone can shout at me if anything important happens. Still there, Steve? He's on mute. Okay, so we're going to let's check the throttle. Throttle's at 50%.
I'm making burgers. Sorry.
Well, did you bring enough to share with the class, Steve? Come on. So this one is What's that?
I said I did. Virtual burgers for everybody.
This one is the Mobula on 2S with a 50% throttle cut. So this is exactly like we flew the Trashcan last time. The Trashcan has 0803 motors. The Mobula has 0802. So the Trashcan motors are 1 millimeter taller, kind of like the difference between a 2206 and a 2207. But when you got motors this small, 1 millimeter more is percentage-wise a much bigger jump. So we're going to arm and let's give her a go. Now you should immediately notice that the camera is way better. Look how blown out the camera is here. Do you see how it's just glary and blown out? And if this light right here were on, backlighting it, I meant to turn that on for the stream, it just becomes impossible to see. So the EOS camera is way, way better. Look as we look into the office here, how it's completely overexposed. The EOS camera on the Trashcan is way, way better, 1,000,000 times better. Let's try and fly this guy, though. And I wonder, I don't think I'm likely to notice too much of a difference flying in here because I'm at 60% throttle cut and I'm still only at 22% throttle, or 50% throttle cut. I'm literally at 10 or 15% throttle flying in this indoor environment. So really, I suspected as much, but a good scientist never lets a hunch become a conclusion. I suspected I wasn't going to notice much difference, and I really am not. I got a little wobble there. A little wobble there in the descent. The PIDs aren't exactly the same either, so that certainly could be it. See if I can get some speed here. I wonder if the 0802 motors are going to give us longer battery life. That would be interesting. I mean, if you're flying in an environment like this, you could make an argument that the Mobula's 0802 motors are... damn it. You could make an argument that the Mobula's 0802 motors are superior because they'll last longer and you're not really using the full power of the 0803s on the Trashcan. Feels pretty controllable, though. I got no complaints. I don't feel like I'm going super fast. The camera is screwing me up right through there, for sure. It just is hard to line that up when it's glaring out like that. And so many Tiny Whoop courses are lit up that matters more here than maybe it might. See that? That's so hard to line up. It matters more here than maybe it would on like a 5-inch where you're not going to be doing light tracks every day. But on a Whoop, it could, all the races you do could be like the equivalent of a light tracks. I can feel the battery starting to sag here. I still don't feel like I put in a really fast lap. Okay. Rapid fire is taking a dump. So rapid fire doesn't like the camera on the Mobula very much. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys could see that little wobble there. Get out of there. You guys could see that little wobble of the rapid fire. All right, let's bring this guy in. Yeah. Oh, get in there. What are you doing? All right. So, here's thoughts and conclusions. Number one, if you've got a Mobula and a rapid fire, put the rapid fire into legacy mode before you fly it because the camera, it doesn't like something about the camera. Oops. Huge differences in the cameras. Yeah, Corsair. Huge differences. You can barely see the center of the gate on the door when flying in the Mobula because it blows out. Whereas on the EOS camera on the the Trashcan has larger motors. It's got an F4 processor instead of an F3, and it has the EOS camera. And frankly, the EOS camera alone might be enough to make you pick the Trashcan. Yeah. Yep. How sensitive are those little guys to PID tuning? Well, Broke Mechanic, it's funny you ask that. What I'd like to do is I want to take this guy, and how is my battery? 7.7. It's kind of low. I'll put a new battery on it. Hold on. Let me unplug the Mobula, because I want to show you something that I learned. And the Mobula is just the last one we've flown, so... how do you display the diversity signal on OSD? You do that by owning a rapid fire, and then in the rapid fire there's an option in the menu for what you want pardon me, you want displayed on the OSD. Yeah, and the rapid fire works great almost all of the time, but occasionally you get a camera that it doesn't like, and the Mobula's camera is one of them. You can yeah. So the question that's outstanding is, what effect does PID tuning have on a micros? And it's true that if you're tuning like P and D and I, because they're so small and so light, the PID tune has really exaggerated. You can just raise the P gains like crazy, and the little tiny motors don't have as much of an effect. So you often see microquads with super high P gains, for example. But the big... there are other things that make more of a difference, like, for example, props out versus props in. That means the direction that the props are spinning. The standard direction is that the props come in toward the center, but microquads fly much better a lot of the time with props out. I haven't actually noticed there being that much of a difference on 5-inch quads, but on the micros it makes a big difference. But the thing that we're going to change is this. If I can find my USB cable. The thing we're going to change is this. Let's see. Does the trash can have a buzzer? I don't think I remember the trash can having a buzzer.
What version of Betaflight are you running on those?
Well, whatever they came with, I think. Oh no, looks like the Mobula has 400. Wow. The Mobula has 400. I don't know what night. The thing that made the biggest difference for me on the Tinyhawk, and maybe we'll get the Tinyhawk and fly that briefly, but was going into PID tuning, and you take the angle strength up, and they on the Tinyhawk, the Project Mockingbird guys took it up to 100. And they also cranked feed forward, but as we discussed earlier, feed forward doesn't have an effect when you're flying an angle, and I'm flying an angle exclusively here. So we're going to leave that. And we're just going to make that one change. And I want you guys to see the difference is extraordinary. At least it was. Broke Mechanic FPV, where are you getting 4.0? Here's where you get it. Let me just show you right here, since we're here. You go to the firmware flasher. You enable this button, Show Unstable Releases, and then you change from Release to Release and Release Candidate. Hey, come back. And then, hey, what are you talking about? What happened? Why does it only go to... Oh, wrong. Hang on. Kakute F7. Where? Yeah, Release and Release Candidate. Where's 4.0? Hey, Steve.
Development?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Steve. I'm just a bonehead. You go to development. Thank you. I knew you would know, man. There we go. You go to development and you got 4.0. Yeah. Scumbag, I'm here every Monday. I could do it every day, but I'm here every Monday. No, I'm Redbeard. I'm not sure whether I flashed 4.0 or whether it came with 4.0. I had a I had a quad recently come from a vendor with 4.0 on it. It might have been the Mobula. So you do not need BL-Heli-32 to use Betaflight 4.0. Max Beamer, I think you're thinking of the new RPM filter in Betaflight 4.0, which is completely super experimental. That does require BL-Heli-32, but Betaflight doesn't require that. Okay, so what we've done is we have increased the angle strength, and that's all we've done. Basically, we've increased the P gain on the angle. Yeah, the Mobula Tatum DM is confirming Mobula comes with 4.0. Yeah. So, hang on. You gotta keep track of which batteries are charged and which batteries are empty. Charged. Okay. It's the hardest thing to do when you're flying whoops. Okay. Oh, good. 2 of these. Perfect. If you have one of these little 2S whoops with a serial adapter, it's a good idea to double check the battery voltage before you plug them in, because you may only see the sum voltage. So if one of them is low, you could have one be at like 3.5 and one be at like 4.35, and you'll see 7.6 whatever. You can get yourself in a situation where you run one of them all the way down, you see, where with it, well, the other one, so you may not realize that one of them is below 3.0. So you want to double check that. Chris Quad, you know, the trash can came with an XT30 in the kit. It wasn't installed, but the implication was that if you're running the trash can, you might be running an XT30. So a lot of people who run these 2S whoops actually say that you get much less voltage drop if you convert to an XT30 or another connector. I can't remember the connector that was suggested, but they say that the stock connector, the tiny whoop connector, actually has a lot of resistance that causes voltage drop and sag. So you are right that these little batteries are a pain in the butt. They're a pain in the butt to frickin' get to mount on the damn thing, is what I'm experiencing at this exact moment. Come on. Okay. Broke Mechanic, that's a valid question. Would 4.0 have bugs? So they're shipping a product with the Betaflight Nightlies are relatively stable. They sometimes have bugs, but a lot of times the really experimental stuff goes on in a private branch, and then once it's mostly shaken out, they put it in the Nightly for the rest of the devs to test more widely, especially because the hardware, this firmware is only running on this one hardware, so there's not going to be some edge case where there's a weird flight controller that brings out a bug. It's not completely irresponsible for them to have shipped this with 4.0 on it. I mean, a lot of people are running 4.0 right now. You have to be, you know, you have to be safe, be careful, but it's not completely irresponsible either.
Yeah, a lot of the newer features are CLI only as well, so you kind of have to know what you do to turn them on.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. All right. There we go. Give me some earbuds, Apple earbuds, you know, some little tiny ones. Okay. All we've done is change the angle strength, and our throttle is still at 50%, and our camera is still crappy. Whoa! Do you see how that jumped up? Now I'm gonna just twang the stick, okay? Hang on. You see how you can even see every little wiggle of the stick in the quad? You see how you can see when the stick goes sproing? You can see it. And now watch me fly. Now I will crash and suck, but I'll do my best. It is amazing. So precise. so precise, just locked. That level strength is incredible. Oh, come on, you! Did I go through it? I'm going to say I went through it. I think I went through it. See? Ah! Come on. There you go. I think it was this one. Just unreal. Hey, come here. What are you doing? Is the battery out? No. What's going on? Oh, am I? Oh, I'm not. I see. I'm not. I'm in acro mode. I was like, what's the quad doing? It was because I was in acro mode. I got the same switch for turtle mode as for... There we go. I was like, why is the quad flying weird? Because I wasn't in auto level. There we go. Okay, now that's what it looks like when you think you're in angle mode, but you're not. See, now I'm getting aggressive because I feel too confident. I think I'm dropped a battery. It feels like a battery is sagging below, hanging below, maybe. There's a little bit of wobble. That's legal. That's legal. That counts. That counts. Well, I hope that you guys can see the confidence and precision that I feel from raising that angle strength up. In a minute, I'm going to get back to the chat and I'll see your comments. It's just a whole other ball game. And if this freaking camera would let me see where I was freaking going, it'd be even better. Okay, we're going to bring it in. Okay. Let's see here what we got. Okay. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that? Hold on. There we go. Got the head cam back. Was that like... That was like... Okay, I see that the chat agrees. That was like... I'm not like a... I'm not... I mean, I've seen lots of whoop pilots who are way better than me, but the difference between angle strength of 50 and angle strength of 100 on the exact same quad, just night and day. So the downside, I'll tell you, this is the downside. If you whack something and the quad starts to fall, you can actually get like P-term oscillation. So whereas with a low angle strength, it'll go whack and sort of recover. With a high angle strength, sometimes it goes whack and goes down to the ground. So it's not perfect, but I feel like it's a big step up. And thanks to the Project Mockingbird guys for helping with that. Yeah, Broke Mechanic, the thing is I didn't know I was in acro. That's the thing. I didn't realize. I thought I was in angle mode. Okay. Do you think a brushless whoop can make a better lap time than a good brushed whoop? Asks Broken Mechanic. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the course. Like, this is a relatively wide open course, especially with these big race day quad gates. This is a relatively wide open course. I've seen some really tight whoop courses that maybe would make one of these challenge. I am on 50% throttle limit here. You know, so there's whoop courses out there that would make this struggle, but in general, I think a good pilot with a 2S whoop is going to be faster. Bear in mind, though, faster is not the be-all, end-all of what you're going for when you fly. So let's get out the... hang on. I'm getting myself tangled here. Hold on. Let's try this. I got an idea. Hang on. Get these back on the charger. You just got to roll those packs. You just got to keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. Okay. Just charge them, fly them. Charge them, fly them. Beat them up. Okay, so this is the BeeBrain Lite, BeeBrain V2, the Newbeedrone Acrobee with the BeeBrain V2, and it's a brushed whoop class quad. Okay, and this is, I haven't done any like fancy tuning on this. It's basically just as it comes from Newbeedrone, but presumably that's not terrible. And let me just get my channel sorted out here. Okay. All right. Oh, I gotta fix the freaking OSD on this thing. It's not my OSD. Hold on. Let me fix this real quick, so you guys don't have to see the wrong information. It bugs me because it has the RSSI. It has the RSSI in the lower left where my throttle usually is. So I'm always like, think I'm showing you guys the throttle when I'm really showing you the RSSI. Let me just fix this real quick. This, I'll show you my trick for, hold on. There we go. I'll show you guys my trick. So what I've got is what I call the universal setup, the Betaflight universal setup. And I've simply taken a config dump, and I've taken out the parts that I always use. Actually, I don't as much use this anymore, because anyway, but it's got all of my aux modes. It's got my failsafe settings, other nonsense I do, and it's got my OSD config. And what all I have to do to get my OSD set consistent is copy and paste and save. And now the OSD is the same on all my quads. It also just makes setting up a quad much faster. Let's just glance at the OSD. So this looks like it's a, is it a PAL or an NTSC camera? I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, let's just fix this. No. We'll fix that right away. And here in the OSD, what else do I need to change? I think that's it. Oh yeah, they have a different font on here. Let's go to the font manager and actually, haha, we're going to do this as well. Uh-oh. It's freezing up on me. Hello? Not responding. Oh, man. Well. Broke Mechanic says, Jesse's got nothing on me. Nothing on Josh. Nothing on you. Me. Thank you. That's kind, but also generous. I am not sure why this is freezing up on me now. Let's hope my whole computer isn't freezing up. Is it? Oh my God. Are you for real? Okay, hello, I'm back. Hold on. Betaflight is freezing up. 1 second, guys. Let me kill Betaflight here. Let's try that one more time. I'm glad I didn't like lose my whole stream. Let's try this again, shall we? OSD, font manager, select custom image. There we go. I got a custom splash screen that I use, so we'll upload the font. I mostly just like the default font. They've got the bold font. Really? Okay. Really? Okay, now it's screwed up. And it's just frozen. Wow. Do I need a battery plugged in for this? I'm going to break it. It's over. Well, fortunately, this is not the keynote at... Here, let me plug a battery in and see if that fixes it. Now, you are that happy. Now, we're going to try this the third time, and it's going to work. There we go. Cross your fingers, folks. Cross your fingers. Yeah, Redbeard, it shouldn't freeze up, though. It'll just not work, but it shouldn't freeze up. Oh my gosh, are you for real? Wow. Okay. Okay. I wonder what my OSD looks like right now. It looks like nothing. Yeah, no OSD. Okay. Well, I'm not going to try a fourth time. Let me power cycle this and see what happens. If I have an OSD at all. Yeah, looks like it didn't take. Well, at least my OSD settings are correct. So, all right, we're going to go with that. I won't update the font. Give me 1 second here. You are running, I wish Stingy were here, Spats Ender, running Revolt OSD and can't get telemetry to work in Betaflight. I can't tell you for sure whether that's doable or not, because I am not the Flight 1 guy, unfortunately. Is it me or is this camera super dark? I'm turning my brightness up. That's not going to help you guys, but... These folding headphones it's not helping. Okay. Oh, let's not be at 50% throttle for the Acrobee. Okay, great. The Acrobee can go to 100% throttle. Now, the question we're going to answer is, how does this little brushed whoop compare to the brushless guys we've been seeing? Here we go. Let's be in auto level mode. Okay. Well, already you can see I'm at like 65% throttle. It's going to take me a second to get used to the throttle curve before I start sort of whipping it around. I like the way these little guys fly, I have to say. The analogy I like to make is like, it's the difference between a go-kart and, like a sports car. A go-kart is still fun to drive, even though it's slower than a sports car. It has its own unique characteristics that make it really enjoyable. And in the past, when I've done this demo, people have stopwatched the laps, and the Acrobee is slower, typically, by a fair whack. But it doesn't feel slower while I'm flying it. It feels more precise and in control, and in some ways it feels more fun. It might be like the difference between, kicking the rear end of the car out on every turn versus hitting every apex. And your lap time is slower just because your car is slower, but you hit every apex and you feel like you were doing a much better job as a pilot or a driver. Like, I feel like I'm lining the gates up a lot more precisely. See, I had to say it, but I feel like I'm lining the gates up more precisely and without sort of flailing for them. I feel more in control and I feel like a better pilot flying the whoop, even though objectively I'm probably slower. Also, this guy, the Acrobee here on 1S, is not struggling for flight time. Throttle. We're down at 3.3 and we're just going to... We're just going to kind of stay there. And that's fine. We wouldn't want to do that with like a big 4S 5-inch quad. That would be hurting the battery. But a little tiny whoop, you can just ride the battery at 3.3, no problem. See, look at how I just feel like I'm flying with so much more confidence here. And more just smoother and I tried to impress everybody by going into that with speed. All right, 3.2. I'm gonna bring it in. All right, now I get to check the chat and see what everybody thought of that little demo. Yeah, scumbag. I'm getting better on every run because I just have to get used to the throttle curve of the different quads. That's like literally the first pack. Going from the Mobula to the Acrobee, big deal. Decode, no, this is not part 107 test prep. Singy just forgot to change the name of the thing, and I can't do that. Which motors came out on the Newbie? This one is the silvers. These are the silvers. I'm not sure if this is what they ended up putting on the production version. I think mine is a pre-production version, but these are the silvers, and that's what's come in the past. So, Broke Mechanic, you're 100% right that in a car race, you can take a more experienced driver with a less powerful car, and he will make better lines and get faster lap times. That being said, there is a certain amount that power can just get you. And I do feel like a less efficient pilot flying a more powerful, like flying a Mobula or a Trashcan, probably is going to put in faster lap times. And an equal pilot will definitely put in faster lap times on most courses with one of these guys. That being said, I'm not convinced that I actually feel like I enjoy the Acrobee more. I'm not just saying that just to be contrary. I enjoy flying it. It's more relaxing. It's like you don't want to sit in an 800 horsepower rear wheel drive sports car every time. You just want to go out to the mountains and enjoy the scenery, right? And that's how the Acrobee feels to me. It feels confidence inspiring. I don't feel like I'm struggling to fly it. And so at the end of the day, I'm not sure that obviously if you're racing, then the lap times are what matters, but yeah. The tighter the course, the more control matters more than speed. I do agree. Jugsy. Batteries definitely matter a lot with these little 1S batteries. The quality of the battery and how abused it is matters a lot. So if one guy's getting 2 minutes on the gold motors and one guy's getting a minute and a half, it could just be the batteries more than anything else. Broke Mechanic asks, is brushless the future of whoop racing? Well, there was always going to be a place, I think, for a spec class of brushed motors only. I mean, these are the true tiny whoops. Well, Jesse Perkins would say that this isn't a tiny whoop either, right? Okay, we'll have to give Jesse that point. He actually is the owner of the trademark for tiny whoop, and the Acrobee is I call it tiny whoop class racing, 65 millimeter brushed motors. So I think that brushed actual quote unquote tiny whoop racing will always be there, but these guys, the racers, like to go fast, and there's no question that these little brushed guys are way faster, and they also have way better durability. The motors don't just wear out after 8 hours or 5 hours of flying. 1S brushless, the happy medium. I don't know, CRFP. I've never tried 1S brushless. That's very interesting. Yeah, Redbeard the pilot. Now, I'm curious if anybody in chat wants to weigh in. Has anybody tried changing the connector on either your 1S or your 2S especially? And I'm not talking about something like the Beta 75X, which is just a monster beast. It comes with an XT30. But I'm talking about these little connectors here on maybe your Mobula or your Trashcan. Have you tried changing those out, and did it make a big difference? And then what did you do for your batteries at that point? Curious. I'm going to throw that out, and then I'm gonna... Now, I thought I might show you guys the Tinyhawk. The thing is, the Tinyhawk, I take back everything negative I ever said about... So here's, you may recall, I'll remind you. I said that I liked a lot about the Tinyhawk, but it just was like second place in everything for me. So it was durable, but in terms of flight performance, it just didn't do it. And especially given the fact that turtle mode doesn't work, I was like, well, I probably wouldn't take the Tinyhawk. But when I put the Mockingbird tune on the Tinyhawk, it just flies amazing. And if you took the Mockingbird tune and the 4-blade props, so turtle mode works, Tinyhawk, way higher in my estimation. I think I would take a Tinyhawk with 4-blade props and the Mockingbird tune over. But it's just, here's the other thing about these things. I like to think of it like a Volkswagen Beetle. It's just so little cute, and it just is so iconic. I don't know. I'll always have one of these in my kit somewhere. But the Tinyhawk really went up in my estimation when I put the Mockingbird tune on it. Yeah. Well, 507RC, Kebab is excited about a lot of things some of the time. And sometimes I agree with him and sometimes I don't. So the fact that Kebab was excited doesn't necessarily convince me. Sorry, Kebab. Mixed classes. Broke Mechanic, you think they're going to have mixed classes or brushed and brushless classes. The thing is, Broke Mechanic, if you take a pilot like Vanover and you give him this and you put him in a race with somebody who's flying this, they don't have a chance. So if you're going to have mixed classes, it's only going to be beginners who are flying, where it kind of doesn't matter. In any serious race, you're going to have to find some other way to do the classes because there's just no chance in the hands of a skilled pilot this guy's going to win. The Mobula or the Trashcan's going to win, no question. So let me do this. Hang on. Stay with me. Stay with me. Oh, that one's not charged up. Never mind. Can't do that one. Let's see. What else have I got? Oh, get out of there. So I've got, this is the Beta 75 Pro 2. And this is the Beta 85. Holy shnikes. With 11, hold on. I got to get this guy out. Holy crap. 85 millimeter with 1104 motors. That's not a tiny whoop. What is it? Sorry, I'm banging the mic. I apologize to you guys on the stream. Yeah, Chris Quad, Thomas Bitamata is a great example of a pilot who is a very efficient pilot. By which I mean he takes smooth and efficient lines and he doesn't blow out his corners. And he wins races by flying well and efficiently, not just jamming the throttle every single turn. Hold on. Yeah, Bitamata is a hell of a good pilot. I like to compare Bitamata with Evan Turner. And Evan Turner, of course, well, he just won, in case you missed it. He just won the Multi-GB Championship. He would be going on to DRL, except that he didn't turn 16 quite fast enough. Holy crap. This is a 3S 450. This is not a tiny... Oh my god, you guys. Okay, I don't know what this is, but it's not a tiny whoop. Okay, we're not reviewing this tonight. This is clearly not for flying in my house. I don't think. 1104 motors, that's the same 1105. 1105 5000 kV. That's the same motors. Hang on. Oh, okay. So this is a Baby Hawk R with 1106. I think these are 7,000 kVs. I can't remember. Hang on, I can't read it. 6,000. These are almost the same motors that's on the Baby Hawk R Pro. So that's cute, but we're not going to be flying that tonight. Mental note, just because Beta FPV sent me a quad doesn't mean it's a tiny whoop. Calling it a Cinewhoop, huh? Cinewhoop. I'm going back to, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Evan Turner and Thomas Bitamata are very different types of pilots. And I think Evan is getting better about this as he gets a little more experience or gets a little older. But Evan is, I will say this, on his best lap, Evan's faster than anybody else in the world, maybe except Min Chen. But Evan often loses races because he only has one speed. He doesn't know how to lay back, and he often crashes out or makes mistakes. Whereas Thomas is in some ways a slower pilot, but wins more races. And I think it's very interesting the different style there's. I've said, and I want to see this come true, that as Evan matures, I'll say, I mean, I think he's 16 now, and I've known him for maybe 3 years here in Knoxville. As he gets older and matures, he's going to become a real force to be reckoned with, and I think we can see it happening. because his raw talent is going to be tempered by experience and maturity, and I just don't think anybody's going to be able to beat him. So, okay, so this is, I'm not just saying that because he's the local kid. I don't know how he ended up being in Knoxville. Okay. This is the 2S Pro Beta FPV 75 Pro. Hang on, I just want to double check my batteries here, that I'm not killing my batteries. How are they doing? They were fully charged at the beginning of the stream. 3.8. They're coming down. I think the safest, 3.75. Okay, I'm going to risk it. I'm gonna risk it. Okay, Deny. Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, Chris Quad, you're 100% right. Thomas is only slow in comparison to world-class guys like Evan. And I don't mean that Thomas is slow. I just mean that he knows how to stay within his limits and win the race. Evan could be 5 seconds ahead of the field, and instead of going, okay, I'm just going to finish, he would try to be 7 seconds ahead of the field. I don't know if that's still true, but it used to be true. Let me get some batteries for this guy. This is...
Well, Nurk said it the best, I think. Do your own race.
Yep, 100%. You got to race your own race, not against the other pilots unless it's the final. In which case, sometimes you got to race against the other guys. But the thing is, like, quad racing is... It's so crazy. It's like, it's seldom the case that you're going to be like, ooh, I've got to pass this guy. You know? You're going to just be going all out. You're lucky to even see the guy half the time before you hit him. So, quad racing, I think, yeah, just focus on your own race. Try and make great lines and go as fast as you can. But, like, the few times I've been in a competitive race, yeah, exactly, Jugsy. The spotter is key because I don't know if I'm on my last lap. I'm barely counting the laps. I'm just so intent on flying correctly that then I say to the spotter, you know, am I in the lead? The spotter will be like, yeah, you're in the lead. You're half a lap ahead. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I can slow down a little bit then. I can afford to lay back, you know? Yeah, the spotter is key. The spotter is kind of like, if you're familiar with rally driving, you know, the spotter is kind of like the navigator guy in rally driving, you know? Oh, crap. I put this on wrong. Well, Correr, if you pushed like that and you won, more power to you. If you pushed like that and you crashed out because you pushed too hard, that's the mistake. All right, so this is the 75S from Beta FPV, and it is, you may have seen me review the 75X. In fact, let me get the 75X. Where is it? Hold on, I got it around here somewhere. The 75X is a freaking beast. The motors are 1103. These motors are, oh, I can already tell they're not 11s. 0802, 12,000 kV. So smaller motors, they're both 2S, but I think the idea is that the 75X is more for sort of like outdoor acro, and the 75S is more for sort of docile indoors. And you can tell immediately the difference because the X comes with an XT30 on it, and the S comes with these two little, whatever they are, ECM something connectors. I don't remember the name of them. I'm not really a tiny whoop guy. So let's fly. We're going to need to set this guy up. I haven't even set this guy up. PH 2.0, thank you. I haven't even bound this guy. What do you, let's see, 926. Hang on. I am going to unplug these guys. So that's how long they last. Let's see here. first thing I'm going to need to do is just bind it. So I guess this is probably there's 2 buttons. Oh, good. It's marked. Bind and boot. That's convenient. And do you have to hold it in while you plug it in? Or is it like the Mobula and the trash can? You can press bind after the fact. Let's see. And I'm going to guess it's D16. Bind. I can't tell if we're binding. Hang on. No, I think I got it. Do I have to hold it down while I plug in? If so, that is atrocious. That is... Oh my gosh. I'll never do that. Hold on. I almost got it. How do I know if it's bound? Let's just find out. Let's just take it out of bind mode and see if it's bound. Here we go. No. Okay. Did it come with instructions? Where's the box? Where'd the box go? Nope. Oh, user manual and help. Well, we're not doing that on the stream, so. Push the bind button. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on flying this, but I thought maybe I'd give it a go, but I'm not going to spend like 25 minutes setting it up here on stream, I promise. Free Sky, the whole holding down the bind button is a nightmare. Can we not have that ever again? Okay, I think I just bound it. How long does it take one man to bind a quad? Alright, forget it. If it's not bound right now, I give up. We're not flying this one today. Nope. Alright, I'll deal with that later. Broke mechanic. I'll see you later. See, I've lost broke mechanic with the binding shenanigans. Low Tone 20 Hertz asks, JB, I've been getting Runaway on my Mobula 7 when I bounce off the ceiling or the wall. There's running Betaflight 4.0 that came with it. Referencing your video on Runaway, everything's set up properly in the CLI. So here's the issue. If you're getting Runaway, and for those who may not know, Runaway happens when the PID controller detects that the quad is moving in an uncommanded way, and it says something right here. Now, the thing that Runaway is designed to protect against is where you've got a prop on wrong, and as you throttle up, the quad tries to flip out, and Runaway will detect that and disarm the quad. But the problem with Runaway is that here's what commonly happens. You go to take off, and as you take off, the quad kind of bumps on the table or something, and the PID controller mistakenly thinks it's trying to flip out, and it says Runaway, and it shuts down. So what Betaflight devs have done is they have built in a protection where when the throttle goes above a certain value, Runaway protection is disabled. And the idea is, hold on one second. The idea is that if you are flying and you smack something, don't disarm, try to keep flying. And so when you raise your throttle, they say, okay, so here's what's happening though. On these little micro quads, you can raise the throttle to 20% and you're flying, and Runaway never disarms. So what you got to do is, I'm just going to plug in one of these guys. And I think I should have made this change. We're going to find out if I've made this change. If not, we'll make it. So this is the Mobula. And I'm going to type get Runaway. Yep, okay, so I haven't made this change here. the key parameter is the runaway takeoff deactivate throttle percent. And hang on, hold on a second, stream. 1 second, stream. I'm going to make this easier for you. Oh, there you go. Now you can read it a little better. Runaway takeoff deactivate throttle percent. Now, if we look at my universal config, one of the things I do is I set runaway takeoff deactivate throttle percent equals 5. And what that means is that as soon as I raise the throttle above 5%, runaway protection is disabled. So, and we'll go ahead and we'll just paste that in here just for the future. So the idea here is that when my throttle is down and I have not taken off yet, that's when I want runaway protection to be active. But as soon as I raise the throttle and I'm flying, stop. I had it happen with my 5-inch quad. This is most common with micros, but I've had it happen with my 5-inch quad where I took off and at like maybe 20% throttle, and I tried to just pop through a little hole and it hit the tree and disarm. I was like, geez. So anytime you're not raising the throttle very much, you're at a risk of this. Now, the disadvantage of what I just did is that, let's say I've got a prop on wrong and I'm ready to rip balls, guys. Let's rip. Okay, so then I arm and I go, whee! Well, at that point, it's going to disable itself and it's going to flip out. So what I do is this. Every time I've changed props or the first pack of the day, frankly, I kind of do this on almost every pack just out of habit now, is I'll just arm the quad and without raising the throttle, I'll just bump the right stick, pitch forward just a little. And if the quad goes, okay, good. I'll bump left, right. Just kind of like, you know, like a batter kind of just grinds his foot into the dirt, you know, kind of, you know, getting ready. Okay. It's kind of like stepping up to the plate. I'm not great with sports analogies. So that's what I do at the beginning of every pack is I kind of just wiggle the quad a little bit. And if it goes, run away, then I had a problem. But then once I actually raise the throttle and start flying, runaway deactivates. Okay. Low tone 20 hertz. If runaway is happening after you've been flying for 1 minute, what that tells me is that the throttle has not gone over 25% for 1 minute. See? That's Smash. Steve says, I don't think you're experiencing runaway. That's yaw spin to the moon. But I think you said that you said I've been getting runaway on my Mobula 7. Low tone, that made me think that you are seeing runaway in your OSD.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's my guess. So I strongly recommend, guys, that everybody who has a quad with an OSD turn on the, oh, look, it's still there. Turn on the warnings element, this one. And what that's going to do is here, okay, that's not going to work. Hold on. Got to fix this. There you go. Right here is where I've got my warning element. And if you get something like a runaway or a failsafe, you will see runaway or RX loss. That is critical troubleshooting info. If you need to reach out to a guy like me and say, hey, what was going on with my quad? That will be just critical info for me to have. So turn on the warning element and leave it on. I strongly recommend it. So yeah, I don't know if it's on by default or not, Chris, but if it's off, turn it on. So low tone, if your OSD is saying runaway, what that tells me is that your throttle has not gone over the runaway deactivate throttle percent. And what I recommend you do, there's two ways to approach this. The first way to approach it is to, when you take off, intentionally pop your throttle. So take off, you get in the air, and you quickly just blip your throttle, and that deactivates it, you see? Or do what I do and just reduce that throttle threshold down to like 5%. So, Subtrop, is it normal to get the RX loss warning when the quad is very close to the radio, like within a foot or so? That's not abnormal, Subtrop. Normally, I see telemetry lost, but not RX loss. But yeah, that's not abnormal. When you get super close to the receiver, you can overwhelm the front end amplifier in the receiver and make a problem. Sit tight 1 second, guys. I'm going to go unplug those other gates so I don't kill my batteries, and I'll be back in 30 seconds. No, we're okay. So for the record, for those who are keeping score, the batteries are down to between like 3.65 and 3.85. These are all 4S, 1300, 1500, 1600 packs, and they've been running the LED gates for over an hour, maybe almost 2 hours roughly. I know I used them a little bit before I started the stream. So if you're wondering how long the race day or the Team Black Sheep LED gates last on a pack, that's approximately how long they are. So cool. All right. Yeah, yaw spin to the moon happens. Yeah, gyro overflow. That's right, Steve. Yaw spin to the moon happens when the quad spins so fast that an overflow in the gyro happens. So the gyro can measure up to 2,000 degrees per second. And when the quad spins 2001 degrees per second, there is a bug, not a Betaflight bug. It's actually a bug in the gyro driver that the Betaflight devs kind of don't have any ability to fix. InvenSense has to fix it, the manufacturer of the gyro. And what happens is that when you spin 2,000 degrees counterclockwise, when you spin 2001 degrees counterclockwise, it actually registers as 2,000 degrees clockwise. And then the quadcopter does the exact wrong thing to stop the spin, and it just keeps spinning forever. Betaflight has some protections in to detect that this is happening and try and basically what they do is when they detect that the quad is approaching 2,000 degrees per second, they shut down the PID controller and let the quad slow down, more or less. Yeah, Subtrop, if you've ever had a quadcopter smack an obstacle and then suddenly go, that's yaw spin to the moon. Recent versions of Betaflight, 3.4 I'm pretty sure had the fix in, maybe earlier. I don't remember exactly when the fix is in. Recent versions of Betaflight should have it fixed that mostly doesn't happen, but it still occasionally can happen when the wrong situation occurs. So that's the number one way, Subtrop, that it can happen is you smack an arm and the quad suddenly goes whoosh. Yeah. Well, you got to disarm, Subtrop says what a way to lose a quad, but you got to disarm. If you detect once it starts going up, it ain't coming down. You got to disarm. The other thing that is similar to yaw spin to the moon, but not exactly the same, is if you have a quad with really high D-gain or with like just problems with gyro noise, like a broken standoff or just a flight controller that wasn't designed right. I've seen some pre-release flight controllers have this problem. You get so much gyro noise that when you arm, the quad goes and just flies away. It's not spinning. It's just shaking itself and it tries to fly to the moon. So
You can get that if you reduce your filtering too much, too.
yeah. Yep. Reducing filtering too much. Jugsy says if you run old Betaflight or if you still get yaw spin to the moon, you can stop it by pulsing the throttle. Maybe, yeah. The other thing I heard, Jugsy, was that you actually yaw into the spin. I don't know why that fixes it. I don't know why, but that's what someone told me. Maybe it's true. Jugsy, crash recovery is something different. Crash recovery is where Betaflight detects that the quad has smacked an obstacle. That's different than yaw spin to the moon, although and what it does is it tries to right itself. It's a little different. Because Betaflight still has crash recovery. I just don't think anybody actually started using it. Does anybody actually still use crash recovery? I don't think so.
I mean, I think it's there by default. Just it's tuned now, I believe.
It's not on. No way. I don't think so.
I'll have to check.
Let's look. So this is Betaflight 4.0 on the Mobula. Let's have a look. Like, would it be a flight mode, Steve? I'm putting you on the spot here, Steve. I apologize.
So. I thought it was a CLI option.
Oh, I guess you guys probably would like to see my screen. Crash recovery angle, crash limit, crash here. No, look, crash recovery equals off. It's off by default.
Okay.
There you go. At least in 4.0. Yeah, I mean, I think there were some issues with false positives, And I'm not sure. Here's my concern with crash recovery. If you're using crash recovery, then you have to calibrate your accelerometer.
Right.
Because a lot of people, their accelerometer isn't calibrated and it could be way off. But if you're a freestyle pilot or a racing pilot, you may never fly acro. And so if you turn crash recovery on, make sure you take a minute and calibrate your accelerometer correctly. Otherwise, when you smack an obstacle and Betaflight tries to right the quad, it'll just turn it upside down. That's no good. The other thing that worries me is some flight controllers have an issue with accelerometer drift. And what that means is that when you first plug in the battery, it's level. And then over time, the accelerometer slowly goes out of level. Because I can't decide whether it's a Betaflight bug or whether it's a flight controller gyro issue. I kind of lean toward it being a Betaflight bug. So I also worry that someone using crash recovery, and this is true if you're using GPS rescue as well, because GPS rescue levels the quad and then flies up to a given altitude. I worry that somebody using those features would be flying and they test their accelerometer at the beginning of a pack and be like, okay, I'm all good. And then they'd go fly and not realize that it's drifted. So I would say if you're using crash recovery or GPS rescue, or if you're just one of those guys who thinks when I lose video, I'll hit auto level and I'll throttle up. I personally don't think that's a great idea, but some people do it. Test auto level at the end of a pack as well as at the beginning to make sure that it's not being affected. So, yeah. Chris Quad points out crash recovery is banned in our race meets. And Chris Quad, I'm going to ask you, why is it banned? But I'm going to speculate about the reason. And the reason is that in at least one case, a quadcopter had a crazy flip out but when it was trying to recover and maybe put some people in danger. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Whew. Well, we are coming up on the end of the stream. That went, if I do say so myself, that went way better than it could have. I mean, we legit flew around. We flew some whoops. I streamed it. The video, how was the video, guys? Yeah, I thought so, Chris Quad. How was the video? Did it look good? Discord? I obviously couldn't see it because I had my goggles down. Was it solid or was it like breaking up and stuff? No robot voice? Yeah, I got rid of that. I got rid of that utility decode. That's good. 10 out of 10 audio. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yep. No robot. That was so... I've used that utility for literally over a year. And that stream was just like the final straw. That was it. We can thank not only can we thank the quads themselves, but we can thank Rapid Fire for that awesome, I mean, it's not like I was flying very far, but that nice glitch-free video. Yeah. And also we can thank, this is the InnoGenny, you can't see it because it's taped up, InnoGenny capture card that I use. This thing, if you ever want to stream FPV, this is gold. Literally, it costs $400. But if you ever want to stream FPV, pick yourself up one of those from B&H Photo Video. It's really good. Okay. X Scumbag, come back. I'm here Monday nights at 8 Eastern. Stingy's here Wednesdays for part 107 prep. Yeah, we're here. And definitely, if you're new, definitely check out my YouTube channel as well. I have a lot of videos for people to learn and enjoy. Good. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up. I'm kind of out of stuff to do. You want? I got it. Oh, no, I don't. I was going to say I'll fly the 75X and we'll see how crazy that is. But I actually don't have this pack charged, so I can do that. I was tempted, but can we fly the Tinyhawk? We could fly let's fly the Tinyhawk. Let's do that. Let me grab the Tinyhawk. We'll give it a shot. Alrighty. Get my headphones back on. There we are. I can't see what you're saying. Oh, wow. The video is flashing.
Switch warning.
Let's see about that. Okay. There we go. I got the correct model loaded. That's important. Wait a minute. That's the Mobula. Where's the Tinyhawk? There it is. Okay, now Rapid Fire has to figure out. It's got to fix its lock. Hold on. Change channels. It'll fix its lock. There you go, Rapid Fire. Okay, we had 2 quads on the same channel. So apparently, was the Mobula... The Mobula's VTX was powered on from USB. That's interesting. Okay, now this the Tinyhawk right now has the Mockingbird tune on it. So this is not stock. This is not stock. Okay, here we go. No, hang on. I gotta... What's going on here? Hang on. Okay, there we go. My goggles are screwed up. All right. Now, let me just not go like all out right here at the beginning. The yaw rate is much higher than, or less expo than I'm used to. Hold on, take me a second to adjust here. I can't see it. I can't see the gate without the lights on. Oh, that is really nice. That is really nice. I might like just a little bit of expo on yaw from what the Mockingbird guys do. Dang nabbit. Ah, do you see that? You see that oscillation there? That is the level strength being super high. That's basically a P-term oscillation in the auto level pit controller. And that is the price of this ultra sharp handling. Right there, see? So it doesn't seem to recover from smacks quite as gracefully as, but it flies a whole lot better the rest of the time. Oh, now I'm getting it. Now I'm getting it. Maybe it's just because the battery's getting lower and I'm getting slower. Now I'm getting it. Oh, yeah. Get it. Get it. Oh, you monkey. I really wanted to get that turn smooth. That's not bad. Okay, here we go. No! Oh, I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so... I'm going to go back around again. Through here. And then... Smooth as a... Butter! Butter! Smooth as butter!
Is that the 4-blade props?
What are you doing? That's not right. Hang on. Oh, there I am. And at the end of the day, that's the number one thing that's wrong with the Tinyhawk now.
Are you using 4-blade props?
What's up, Steve? What'd you say?
4-blade props? Are you using those?
I don't have the 4 blades on there now. Yep. Okay. What's the question now? Low tone, horizontal bars across the top in the OSD. That's the rapid fire. That's the rapid fire module from Immersion RC. It does that. That's RSSI, video RSSI. Golden Air, I agree with you. The BeeBrain, the Acrobee, looked the most in control. It felt the most in control. I bet you a nickel that if you took out a stopwatch, you'd see it was also the slowest. But that doesn't mean it's the worst. And I will. Everybody likes to go power, more power. There will always be a place in my heart for these little guys. They are in some ways more fun to fly than something that's more powerful and faster.
Vanover won the Tiny Whoop Invitational with the BeeBrain Light.
But he's Vanover.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything. Alrighty, guys. Okay, that was fun. Gave the Tinyhawk a chance. I hope you guys can see, and I'm definitely going to be putting out a video on my channel about the effect of Mockingbird on the Tinyhawk. I hope you guys can see that the Tinyhawk definitely deserves a second look. If you rejected the Tinyhawk because I said I didn't like the way it flew, I mean I didn't, but it flies way better now. So very good. And I think we're going to wrap up here. Thank you to those of you who are listening as if this was a podcast. Not the most exciting podcast. But I will see you guys next Monday. I'll be here, and I will see you in the Discord the rest of the time, hanging out in the Discord, and mostly on the JB Budget Build channel personally, but and of course elsewhere on the internet. We are gonna wrap up. Bye Discord. Thank you for coming. Say hello. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Steve. Jesus.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye, Twitch. You too.